There was a video recently uploaded by Sagittarius, who pretty much claimed that Dark Harvest is better than Conqueror. I thought the video was a little bit misleading, so I'm gonna go over those claims. One thing I want to get out the way is that you have to understand that just because someone shows you a very small sample size of games doesn't mean that really means anything. For example, I can show you right now I won 7 games in a row with Bruiser Samira mid lane on my diamond account, and I could turn this into a video being like, wow, this is the most broken new way to play Samira, this is OP, this is better than standard Samira. Which doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's bad, it shows that it can work, but it doesn't mean it's automatically true that it's the absolute correct build to go and always better. Especially when the sample size is like 10 games from one player. And because of that, the first thing I'm gonna do is look at just the statistics. I'm gonna look at all Samira players from all elos and then look at the Rune win rates. I'm gonna start with Emerald Plus in this current patch. There are currently 500 games recorded with Dark Harvest and 27,000 with Conqueror. Looking at the win rate, this looks very, very underwhelming. It has a 9% less win rate than the people that take Conqueror. And this is Emerald Plus. This is the higher end of the ladder. Those people are winning 42% of the games where they took the rune. If you swap it to all elos, so including bronze, iron, gold, everything, now there's a sample size of 2.6 thousand games and the win rate still looks pretty horrible. It's also worth noting that even Electrocute had a higher win rate. I will also go to the last patch because there's more games. This is all ranks, half a million games on Conqueror, 50% win rate, 1.5 thousand games Dark Harvest, 44% win rate. Looks again pretty horrible. Emerald Plus, 200 games only, but the win rate looks even lower. So on average in Emerald Plus and below, Dark Harvest win rate looks really bad. There's also a lot of stuff about the runes that he didn't really mention in the video. The first thing I want to cover is that if you have a bad lane, or a passive lane, or a lane where you just don't win, Dark Harvest is never better. Ever. If you're not getting stacks, this is not better. So if you're playing into a bad 2v2, let's say you mess up early game, maybe you get camped, maybe you get ganked, Conqueror would always have been better. 100% without a doubt. It's really clickbaity or like catchy to be like, oh, it's infinite scaling into the late game. Technically true, but Dark Harvest only scales if you're actually winning lane getting these stacks, while Conqueror scales no matter what. You can go 0-10 and you will have insane Conqueror value late game. If you go 0-10 with Dark Harvest, you have no late game. Conqueror is a guaranteed runestone that will do a lot at all points of the game. This is very basic common knowledge about both runes, which I'm surprised he didn't cover. This is actually a clip from his own video, and I even feel like this clip is kinda misleading, because not only is this already an extremely good trade no matter what rune you have, because even before he procs Dark Harvest, he has pretty much a 40% health advantage before he procs it. But I actually did the math in a practice tool game, and if you do everything he did, including auto-attacking the Xerath, you actually would have done 11 more damage with Conqueror, if you include the auto-attacks on Xerath. But that's also assuming you don't do a single extra auto-attack after that, because that's where the Conqueror really would pop off, because it's finally stacked up. So not only in this clip would Conqueror actually have done more, every trade he would have done more after that would have been a lot more. And what he doesn't tell you here is that you actually kind of lose skill pressure level 2 now, because you have to kind of wait for your Dark Harvest stack. He gets lucky and he gets it like legit last second, but you have pretty large downtime here. You can't really use your level 2 advantage because you're still waiting for your Dark Harvest to come back up. And if you really wanted to go for the max burst on Varus specifically, there was no reason to not just go Electrocute. Because an Electrocute would be like double to triple a Dark Harvest proc level 1. And then there's also the debate of saying that, yeah, this is an EQ Samira rune. You go for EQ, you proc the Dark Harvest, and that's it. But even in his clip, the game doesn't work that way. You can just sometimes choose to walk away. What if you EQ in to go for a proc and you get ganked? Conqueror would be better. What if you go for a proc and they hard all in you in return and you cannot get out? Conqueror would be better. So you constantly have to leave out so many things for Dark Harvest to be better. Sure, if you EQ in there and it perfectly half health the Varus and you walk away and you don't fight anyone else, sure, in that very niche 1v1 where no one actually runs you down after or trades back, Dark Harvest would do more. But that's not how the game works. Another claim he said that you can get to 600 AD in most of your games. I actually have played with Hubris quite a bit, and that is not the norm. You can have 600 AD very late game when you have the AD potion and your full build and you have Hubris procced, then yes. Most games you do not even become full build. Some games you don't make it past 2 items. Some games you don't make it past 3. Getting 680 in most your games? Absolutely not. Sometimes, sure. It's funny that he did say like, oh, it's 680 and Dark Harvest you one-shot most squishies. Yeah, you do with any runestone with 680. You could take Grasp and one-shot a squishy with 680. It's 680. One thing you also have to realize when you're comparing the two runes is that Dark Harvest has a bit of a placebo effect, where if you proc the Dark Harvest and you see their health go down and there's like a little sound like boom, it makes you feel like it's doing a lot. While Conqueror is a gradual increase on every auto attack, every ability, you don't really see it, you don't really feel it. It doesn't mean that it's not doing more. I think a lot of people get baited by that because people say Conqueror is useless and it doesn't do anything, mostly because we can also not look at how much damage it's actually done in the game. It only tracks the healing, which I'm not even gonna cover, by the way. We're gonna give Dark Harvest the benefit of not even covering the healing at all. But because we don't see the damage and we don't really feel the damage, it kind of feels like it's underwhelming, when it's doing more than you think it's doing. So it is extremely hard to completely compare Dark Harvest to Conqueror, because there are also very different playstyles. Dark Harvest, after getting the stack, you don't really have a rune, while with Conqueror, after it's stacked, you have max value of the rune. So it's really hard to give you guys a scenario where you could get a good comparison about how the rune is better than the other. So I kind of came up with this. It's just a random thing I thought of. It's like you go for a 1v1 combo and you go for another ult combo on 2 people. So you're fighting 1v3, 3 people, 3 potential Dark Harvest stacks, and then we're gonna compare the damage. I did calculations basically of doing a combo with no Conqueror, with Conqueror when you have 0 stacks at the start, which is kind of rare, but let's give it that benefit, and then one where you're fully stacked up and then do the combo. And I will say this is a controlled environment. We are taking a lot of stuff away from the game, like bonus AD, items. We're only looking at one scenario, mostly because there's thousands of different scenarios with thousands of different AD combinations. Points of the game where you don't have a certain amount of items yet, or where you maybe didn't get a reset, or you did get a reset. How much value is the Conqueror healing added into all this? So let's not overcomplicate it and just look at the base raw numbers. And this is the first result. This pretty much means for Dark Harvest to do more than Conqueror, you need 6 stacks on level 6, 8 on level 11, and 10 on level 16. That's assuming you do the standard Conqueror combo from 0 stacks. If you do a fully stacked Conqueror combo, then you would need 9 Dark Harvest stacks on level 6, 12 on 11, and 15 on 16. Meaning that if you are fully stacked Conqueror and then you do your combo, you would need 3 more Dark Harvest stacks to be even close to those numbers. And this was all assuming you even get 3 Dark Harvest procs in this fight to begin with. What if you only get 2 procs, which is very likely, you don't always get 5 procs every team fight. So what if you only get 2? Maybe you didn't get a reset, maybe someone got healed, maybe someone barriered. So for 2 procs in that fight, you would already need 10 stacks level 6 to be able to do the same damage, which is quite a lot more. Having 10 stacks at level 6, you must have been winning the lane pretty hard pre-level 6. 13 stacks on 11, 16 stacks on level 16. Versus a fully stacked Conqueror, you'd need 14, which is a very, very high amount for level 6. 19 for level 11, and 24 for level 16. There's of course also the situation where you don't get a single proc. Well, in that case you just lost about 200 to 300 to 400 damage, depending on what level you were fighting at. So what if you only proc once in a 1v3? Maybe you kill one, you don't do enough damage to proc the other 2. For that one proc to do the same damage as Conqueror, on level 6 you would need 22 stacks. 29 stacks on level 11, 35 on level 16. And these numbers are pretty much impossible for the most part. Versus a fully stacked Conqueror, it becomes really insane. You need 31 stacks at level 6, 41 at level 11, and 51 at level 16. And this matters a lot because sometimes you don't proc. That is the nice part about Conqueror. Conqueror will always do something. You don't need any requirements except for just hitting them. And you can tell that if it doesn't proc, it's really, really, really bad. Like really bad. Also, if you're wondering why I didn't talk about Hubris at all, I think Hubris is a good item. It's a fun item. I think it's pretty gold efficient most of the time. Good if you can snowball. Hubris is good, I like Hubris. Also, if your goal is to get Hubris proc as fast as possible, there's no reason to not go electrocute. It just straight up does more, in the early game at least. So you're thinking now, like that was the whole plan, you go Dark Harvest, you proc Hubris. and then you reproc. Electrocute would get you that first proc way sooner. But the conclusion about the rune, I don't think Dark Harvest is worth taking. I think you guys are griefing your games by taking a 42% win rate rune. That is pretty much an all or nothing rune. You gotta hope you got a good support that knows how to play the game, which if you're playing in low elo, you probably don't. You gotta hope you win the 2v2, which most people win 50% of the time, so half the time that rune would probably not even be good. You also gotta stomp it to get enough stacks for it to be good. You gotta not get camped, or it's not good. You gotta not have a passive lane, or it's not good. Is it fun though? Is it fun? Could you try this and be like, oh yay, Dark Harvest stacks, yay, I got 10 stacks, wow, this game I got 30, yippee. Sure, it's a fun build, it's a fun rune. Is it better than Conqueror though, competitively in your rank games? According to the win rates and according to most of the numbers, and looking at most possible scenarios, no, not really. Also, no disrespect to Sagittarius, the video was entertaining, but I'm a Samira OTP and I'm curious about what runes is the best for her, what the best build is. And people have been asking me like, is this true, is Dark Harvest really good on Samira? And yeah, no. Like I said, it's fun. If you want to get out there and get some stacks, hey, have fun guys. It's a fun, different way to play Samira for sure, but it's not gonna win you more games. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I will start doing RP giveaways at 3000 subs and we're very close, so yeah. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.